see if oh my God. This filter is weird on Instagram. I'm going to take this thing off. How do you take the filter off? It is like the weirdest filter on Instagram. Thing is, it looks so odd. But hi guys, we're going to get started in a second. It's crazy. Filters. Where's my other pen at? There we go. And need my drink, and we're gonna get started. Bam! I knew I was missing something. Like I need my vitamin water. Okay, we're good to go. Hello, Instagram. Hello, Facebook and YouTube. Woo! It's been a week and some change since we did our last pop-up. Do not follow my advice. Do not do pop-ups. But listen, I'm just trying to get them in while I can get them in. So for those coming on, hello. We are going live this Wednesday afternoon. So if you're watching this, welcome. Hey guys. Hey guys. Hey, oh awesome. Hey Germany. Hey Bree. Hey guys. If you're watching live, let me know. Say hi. Say something. We're gonna jump in. A couple things before you start. If this is your first time, oh, you're watching me. On YouTube. Awesome. So if this is your first time watching me, if you don't even know who in the world am I, my name is Genesis Dorsey, and I work with women, primarily women, but we do have a good portion male audience, 30%, 37%. And I focus specifically on helping creatives, entrepreneurs, faith-based, okay? I talk about the Lord a lot, talk about God a lot, Jesus Christ, okay, Holy Spirit. And my niche is in helping those leaders to learn how to take their voice, build confidence, authority, and expertise from what God has already given them, whether it is your degrees, your life experiences, your genius, basically. We're taking your genius that you already have and learning how to dish that out to the world in a way that will transform how you show up. So I teach a lot on showing up with authority, how to present yourself. We focus for my women on 3 areas of speaking, writing, and teaching, whether that is in the realm of ministry, business, or just leading people in life in general. We're focusing on taking that voice and making sure, again, that you're showing up with that authority, with that clarity, confidence, so that whatever God is giving you as your mission, your vision, that it gets accomplished, okay? So that's what we focus here over in the side and world of GenesisDorsey.com and all of its respective platforms. Over the past couple of weeks, I've been traveling, but we were doing some lives back when I was in DC. That's like a week ago. And we were focusing on some amazing areas concerning pricing, concerning your value, how to see your worth in the marketplace in business, as well as in other realms and areas. And then we also talked about in our last live about clarity and confidence and how to apply faith. So I'm going to read my notes. We're going to go first with a recap of our last live, and then we're going to continue tonight. Tonight is a masterclass, okay? It's going to be, I'm just letting you know right now, it's a pop-up, yeah, but it's a masterclass. And so if you're watching this and you're like, Genesis, like I just hopped on by accident, I know it's going to be good, then come back, watch tonight, but come back, okay? And you're definitely going to need to take notes. And this is a kind of a melting pot of some notes that are pulled from my Madness to Method bundle that I did it as a masterclass about 2 years ago, and it's so good. It comes with 2 different workbooks to teach you how to turn your expertise, your genius into a method. And some of you who even took the class, you need to go back through those notes. You need to go back through the workbooks because you're really missing out on not showing up as an authority in your field. And I'm not talking about, talking big. I'm not talking about sounding like a genius. I'm not even talking about where you're talented, you're gifted, you're demonstrating those gifts. But let's just be real. When we look at your presence and the way you show up with authority online, it's not giving what it needs to give, okay? And I'm going to explain what that means, okay? Because I want you to show up with your expertise packaged, Okay, it needs to be packaged well. It needs to be packaged in a way where people don't just see you as, again, you're doing great things online. They meet you you're doing great things in person, but the way it's packaged is just all over the place. And so it's hard for you to get certain levels achieved. Okay, again, a lot of you, yeah, you're making money. Okay, great. You're doing okay. You're doing well. But you know that if you package yourself in a more, I don't want to use the word presentable, but a much more elevated professional way of your expertise, then you wouldn't be stuck in the pool like everybody else. And I know some of you guys, you're tired of being in the pool like everybody else. You want to separate yourself, but it's going to take some packaging. And this is not talking about branding or marketing. I'm talking about what you do before you hit the branding and marketing buttons and what you need to produce, okay? So this is a masterclass. You definitely are going to want to take notes, okay? And more importantly, you're going to want to apply this. It's more than just you hearing it, but you want to apply it. So let's jump into this. We hit our 5-minute mark, okay? Actually 6-minute mark. So let's go through our last live, let's go through those notes because it's going to set us up for tonight. Okay. And if you're enjoying this, hit the share button. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, I don't know how you guys do that. I know Facebook is easy. And if you're on social media, maybe there's a way that you can do that. Okay. So let's talk about these 4 components. The first one that we touched on 2 weeks ago was that clarity produces confidence. Okay. Clarity produces confidence. Again, these are the foundational pillars to what we're going to talk about tonight. And you have to have these things locked in if you're going to show up as an expert in your field, if you're going to build a platform of influence and expertise and impact, okay? The first is, again, clarity produces confidence. People confuse being excited about something with confidence. Those are 2 different things. One is fleeting and one is sure. Okay. You can get excited to start a business. You can get excited to go after something. You get excited and then your excitement dies. And we say, oh, yeah, I was confident. I had it. No. Because confidence is not something that is, on one moment, off the next. Okay. Confidence is true biblical confidence is something where you are sure and it's not based upon your emotions. Not godly confidence. It's not based upon your emotions. Confidence is based upon what God has already said about you and you believing it and you walking in it. Okay. There's worldly confidence, again, that is fleeting, but God's kind of confidence is where you are sure. You are clear, okay? Now, where does that clarity come from? We talked about a couple weeks ago about understanding your vision and your mission. I'm doing a recap so that we can understand where we're at. Your vision, this is important. Your vision is the bigger umbrella, okay? It is the mast of your expertise, of your presence in the world, okay? Your vision is the impact and it is the destination in which you will take people. Okay. And we're going to quickly do a recap of the scripture that we pulled in the Bible to represent this because we talk about how we want to be like Jesus. So we're going to look at what Jesus did. So the vision is the mast. It is the leading thing. It is the leading anchor, whatever you want to call it. And it represents the impact and the destination you will take people. This is why we talk about having a personal brand or all these other platforms. I really could care less about your headshots. I could care less about, a cool, fancy website. I can care less about your social media posts online. If I ask you this question, where are you taking people? If you can't answer that question, you just have a beautiful platform, but it's going nowhere because you're not taking people somewhere. It is great where we can take people on a journey of our lives and we tell them about what we're doing, all that kind of stuff. Well, that's a lifestyle platform. That's a lifestyle platform. That's what you need to call it. But don't call it, okay, a business. Don't call it something where, it's not connected to helping people, to taking them from one point to another. Otherwise, we're just simply glorifying ourselves and we want people to glory in us. That is not impact. That is not influence. That is you wanting to toot your own horn. And more than likely, this is not to condemn, but this is just to enlighten us. Many times that shows voids in our lives where we're looking for people to celebrate us because we've never celebrated ourselves. We're creating a business because we want people to like us. We want people to, give us likes. We want people to look at us and say, oh yeah, oh my God, you look so good. Well, when you affirm yourself in Christ, you will never create a business just so that people can push and pump you up. You create platforms and businesses because you really want to change lives and you want to take people from point A to point Z. So this is why you need to have a vision. But your vision is not something that you create, it's something that God gives. And that's the difference between a Christian and a non-Christian. This is not to condemn. I'm teaching it for my faith-based people, okay? God is the one that gives you the vision. You do not give yourself the vision because you are limited in understanding your divine impact. You could know your natural impact, but God has a divine impact and anointing on your life that will stretch your own ability. That what you believe that you can do, He can do exceedingly abundantly more than you can ever ask or think. What does that mean? That means that what even I can even drum up in my mind, God will do more than that. Isn't that so powerful? No matter how big I take whiteboards and papers and I draw and sketch out a big vision, no matter how many pages I feel, God will do even more than that. So why would I limit myself by saying, okay, I'm going to create my own vision, I'm going to do that? No, I want to know what God wants me to do. That also invites His protection and His favor because I'm doing what He has said. And whenever you do what God has said, He is responsible for that. That means I have backup, I have protection, I have favor. Man, that's the best insurance plan you could ever have for your life and your business and your vision, more than anything else, right? But then I also have to have the mission. The vision, again, is the destination, but the mission is how you're going to get them there. What are you going to do? Right? How are you going to get that destination accomplished in people's lives? That brings clarity. Right? If you don't know those things, you will struggle to run your business. You also will never be able to have healthy boundaries because when you know your vision and you know the way in which you're going to get done, which is your mission, you will not be able to say yes to everything because if it doesn't fit the vision, if it doesn't fit how you're going to do it, right? If it doesn't fit that, you have to tell people no. Yeah, you have to tell them no. Why? Because God has given me something to accomplish, and if it doesn't fit the top, if it doesn't fit the way it's going to get done, I cannot do it. Right? So I don't accept, you see, it's important. You do not accept opportunities and different things based upon your ability to do them. You accept them based upon it fitting the vision and the mission of your life, of what God has called you to do. Perfect example is Jesus. We talk about how we want to be like Jesus, okay? Jesus knew that His mission and His vision was tied to the Father's business. He knew that He had to do a few things in the earth. Number one, let's look at Luke 4:18. Then we're going to get into from madness to method. Because all these things, guys, I'm telling you, I'll do it over here. I'm laying the foundation. This is why, I reteach things over and over again, because if you don't have the clarity in which I'm teaching, in other words, if you're not understanding these basic things, you're going to struggle when it comes to the more in-depth levels of you operating in your gift, operating in your genius, okay? Because I'm not here to pump you up. I'm not, okay? I'm not here to get your emotions stoked. I'm here to get your understanding clear, and I'm here to get your faith stirred. Those are my two things. So I'm not here to make you happy. I'm not here to make you happy. If you get happy, that's the byproduct. Okay? I'm here to make sure that you do what God has accomplished you to do, and you do it in a way in which, you transform people's lives through the gift that God's given you. Luke 4:18. This is when Jesus was in the synagogue, and He presented His vision and mission. Okay? And we always teach this within Speak Woman Speak. Luke 4:18 says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because He hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord." And He closed the book and He gave it again to the minister and sat down. And the eyes of all them that were in the synagogue were fastened on Him. And He began to say unto them, "This day is the scripture fulfilled in your ears." When Jesus came to the world, okay, He spent, number one, He did not jump immediately into ministry, because you can't do that when you're a baby and you can't talk. Okay, but He grew up. The Bible said that He aged in wisdom, right, in knowledge, okay? Then he came of age. And then we see the story of him and his parents when he was 12 years old and came of age, which is in the Jewish tradition, coming of age at that age. And then even from there, he grew even more. And he hits his 30s. And this is when he emerges in ministry. And before he does anything within his ministry, he shares what he is about to do. Okay? This is important. So how can we be like Jesus? When you show up in the world, you need to let people know what you're doing. I teach this in Speak Woman Speak cohort, which we have our next cohort coming up in September. And a quick plug, all the information you can read about on genesisdorsey.com. Big button that says Speak Woman Speak. And enrollment has opened, and so I will begin to promote that. But one of the things we talk about in Speak Woman Speak cohort is that you have to learn how to cast vision. Jesus continuously casted vision. He was preaching not just of what the word, him himself being the word, was revealing, but he was preaching on the kingdom. He was preaching on heaven. He was preaching on the now and the later. He was casting continuous vision. When he was with his disciples, he was casting not just vision, not just of what was there, but what was to come. He was setting them up. I mean, these are lessons that we can continuously learn. You have to talk it out to your community. You have to talk it out to your platform of where are you taking them? Where are they going? What are they going to experience, right? You don't just show up and say, oh, guys, visit my website. I've launched. No, we don't do that. No. We are leaders. We realize that when we do these different things, that we are caretakers of people's eyes, of their hearts. That when we launch things, we're not just creating products. Please don't be that person who just creates things, but never leaves people to experience what you've created. Please don't be that person who launches business left and right, and you never get focused on anything, and then you wonder why you have no influence or impact. You have to be like a tree. The Bible says that you are to be like a tree planted by the rivers of living water, producing fruit. You have to produce fruit. How do we produce fruit? You got to be clear on what kind of tree you are. If people are going to eat of your fruit, they got to know what exactly are you producing? Why should I care about your tree? Do you know that the Lord does not, tap on people's brains and say, hey, you see that girl over here? This is what she does. This is why you need it. No, that's what marketing is supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be like John the Baptist. You want to talk about being like Jesus, about being, biblical? Okay, John the Baptist's job was to prepare the way. Right? He was an amazing, needed asset. And his job was to prepare the way that there was someone coming who was going to change the world. Do you know that in the business world, we call that we call it a pre-launch, right? Before you get ready to launch something, you got to tell people of what's coming, what's on the way, why it's going to transform their lives. And you got to spread the word. Social media has made us so lazy because we believe that if we post it once, people are supposed to see it. We believe that if we talk about it a few times on a live, people are supposed to catch it, right? But we know that the percentage of people that are online, they're not going to see all of our stuff. They're not even going to see the same content, all the time. Your job is to believe in your voice, your vision, your mission, your products and services so much that people cannot shut you up about what you offer. Now, why is this? Because you have clarity, and that clarity produces confidence. I can tell if someone is truly confident because it's not based upon their emotions. I don't care how excited you are. I don't care how, I don't care. It's not your emotions that tell me if you're confident. It's your consistency. It's not your emotions. It's your consistency. Confidence is not about always being happy. I'm gonna come for some people. I just wish I could work on my confidence. Because you think confidence means that you got to be some happy-go-lucky person. No, it's consistency. Because when you really believe in something, even when you don't feel like it, you still, come on now. Come on, no, listen, I'm not going to take you on to church because we talk about business tonight. But listen, I know what I just said. Some of you already know what I'm trying to say. You can already attach to it. Have you ever been in a place in your life, right, where you didn't feel it, but you still believed it? I remember where I had moments in my business where I knew that God told me that I was needed in the market. I knew that my business were needed. I knew that people needed my services. But there were moments where I didn't feel my business. I didn't feel the excitement. I would be frustrated, but I still believed God. Have you ever believed past your emotions? Matter of fact, that's when actually faith shows up. Faith does not show up because I feel happy or I feel excited about what God told me. Faith is when I don't feel it, but I still believe it because my faith is not built in my feelings. No. It's when you know that you know that you know. And it's when people cannot convince you otherwise. It's when algorithms can't convince you otherwise, right? It's when your likes and your engagement are low, but you still know that your voice is needed. Come on now, because some of you guys, you've launched your businesses, you put yourself out there, and you think that because you aren't getting the likes, because you aren't getting the engagement, that your voice is not important, that people are not valuing it. But many of you guys know my story. When I started out teaching back in 2012 in this same library, okay, with a laptop, you guys know you all know I tell this story all the time, but it's because I'm teaching what I know. When I got started, I only had maybe between like 3 to 5 people watching me, okay? But God had told me that he was going to call me to teach. Teaching was not something that I did not think I was called to do. I had never preached, taught anything. Never, ever. I was that quiet person. I loved to sing, but that was about it. But I was not a out there kind of person, showing up, talking to crowds of people. That was not my thing. But God had told me to start teaching online. God then began to tell me, he said, I'm going to have you teach in front of crowds of people and you're going to be out there teaching. I said, God, okay. Like, this is not like, what am I even going to say? God began to give me notes. He began to give me teachings. He began to teach me how to structure he began to give me the blueprint to what I had no idea of, right? But guess what? I believe what he said. And I began to teach. And people weren't showing up. I didn't even know who the heck was watching me. I had no clue. It didn't give us any type of data back then, those analytics where you kind of had, where are they coming from? What link what link did they click to get here? I had no idea. But guess what? I kept on teaching. I kept on teaching. I kept on speaking. People say, well, just how do you, get better at your gift? Continue to do what God told you to do. And then you find people who are better at it than you are. And you begin to watch and study. Right. So I began to latch on to people in a good way, and I began to, study and look at how they taught. And I began to not copy or imitate, but I really began to figure out, okay, what were some of the things that they were doing that I believe that I could bring into what I was doing. Right. But I never stopped. That's important. I never stopped. And you have to realize that your confidence is in your consistency. It's not always in you feeling like it. Okay. Now let's talk about our next point tonight, because I got to get into this. We're hitting our 22-minute mark. We're doing good. Now, if you're locked into this, I pray that you're understanding what I'm putting down, okay? Now, we also talked about that faith has measurements and action steps. We looked at 2 Kings 4, woman with the jar of oil. We talked about how I must produce according to my capacity. That's point number 3 that we covered. I must produce according to my capacity. That is the basic requirement. In other words, I must produce according to the abilities that he's given me. And if I'm not using my abilities, my current capacity, I do not need to ask God for more. You already got more. It's already on the inside of you. Are you using what he's already given you? Or are you finding excuses to not do what he's given you and you're trying to go out and do something new? I tell people all the time, whenever I meet somebody and they're always doing something new, but they never spent the time to maximize what they already have, I don't really care about what you're doing something new. Because what that tells me is that you're a runner. There's a hip hop song they would say, she's a runner, she's a track star. I don't even know what that means. So please do not look up the song. But I do remember that one line. They say she's a runner, she's a track star. And I said, that's kind of funny because it reminds me of a lot of us where we believe that our excitement is a gift sometimes. Oh man, I got this other idea, and then I got this other idea, and then I got this other idea. And sometimes we are more addicted to our ideas than our own consistency. We are more addicted to finding something new because we refuse to get still in what we already have. And that actually is something that you have to get rid of, because it will end up killing your consistency and your ability to become an expert, because you are so busy trying to hop. You just hopping. That's like people, they call them church hoppers. They never can find a place to get planted, and they wonder why they are so inconsistent in their growth, because you're hopping. You are never getting still. And that is a trait of a runner, right? It reminds me of Moses. Moses, he ran away. He had killed an Egyptian taskmaster, and he ran away, right? On the run. I did a teaching like this a couple years back. On the run. He was on the run. And the Lord brought him right back to the place where he ran from, because he was called to that place. And it doesn't matter how far you run, man. The Holy Spirit, I pray that he convicts you on the night. I pray he continues to convict you until you realize that it doesn't matter how many ideas I create. You got to go back to that one thing that you need to get completed and you need to focus on, okay? Because that is going to help you with your consistency. Let's dive into the surface now. Now that we got a foundational base, okay, let's go back through the notes. I'm going to do a quick recap. Clarity produces confidence. Faith has measurements. So number 1, clarity produces confidence. Number 2, faith has measurements and action steps. Okay. Number 3, I must produce according to my capacity. And then let me put in number 4 that we did tap on, which was, if I want it bad enough, people cannot stop me. You got to stop making excuses for why stuff can't happen. Don't tell me. I'm the last person you need to tell me. Do not tell me why you can't do something. Now, it's one thing if, you literally cannot do it. You do not have the capacity to do it. Okay. But do not tell me that it's not possible, because that's a lie. That's a lie. Okay. Because the possibilities are not up to you. They're up to God. So if God told you to do something and you keep on getting rejected or denied, that is not a end all be all. That is just you facing a storm. And it's so interesting how spoiled we are, especially in the Western culture. Especially in the Western culture, man. We feel like things should come. So we feel like people should just hand us greatness. I mean, we shouldn't sacrifice for it. We shouldn't work hard for it. It shouldn't mess up my life or my schedule. I shouldn't be tired. I just shouldn't feel anything. I just should have the whole world handed to me on a silver platter. And any type of opposition I come with, oh my God, I guess it's just not for me. Wow. I pray you never become so spoiled with God's favor that you literally believe that every storm is a blank check for you to quit. It is going to cost you. But here's the funny part. It doesn't cost you anything that you don't need. I'm going to say that one again. Your greatness will never cost you anything that you do not need. Okay? What am I saying? Your greatness... Actually, I said it the wrong way. Your greatness will cost you everything. That's what I meant to say. Your greatness will never cost you something that you do need. That you do need. Because your greatness removes the stuff that holds you back. Think about it like this. If I'm somebody that comes across opposition, I don't have the money to start the business, or I don't have the right resources or network. I don't have the right this, right? Well, then you have to go out and find it. You have to go out and seek it, right? Now, what it will do to you then is it's going to cost you comfortability, which you don't need. Got it? It's going to cost you stepping out of your comfort zone, which you do not. You need to learn how to get out your comfort zone, right? So many times we look at opposition as something that is hurting us, but really it's making you better, because it's removing and chiseling the stuff off of you that's holding you back, right? It's going to cost you fear, but you don't need it. You don't need fear. You need faith. Right? It's going to cost you, you learning what sacrifice really means, right? What you need to learn, right? It's going to cost you how to become even more sure about who you are. Man, if there's anything that God giving you a vision will do, man, it will make you learn so much about yourself that you thought you never knew. It's going to make you meet yourself. It's going to make you have singing the Man in the Mirror song by Michael Jackson 15 times over, because man, you're going to be like, I do not like you. You'll be looking at yourself like, why'd you do that, right? You'll be looking at yourself like, you're get better than that, right? Right? Because it really reveals so much about yourself that you have to wrestle with and come to grips with. But guess what? You need that, because how are you going to lead people in their state when you don't know your state, right? All these things make us better leaders. They make us better influencers, impactors. They're going to make us better in our business, our ministry, because it's taking the things off of us that we do not need. Got it? So when you are coming to grips with your greatness and you're wrestling with the parts of you that you do not want to let go, you got to realize that's how it's supposed to go. Okay? Because you got to learn how to leave those things behind. Let's dive into our madness to method thing. I got to get the surface in tonight. Okay? Again, this is definitely a class. You definitely going to want to take notes. You definitely, if you're not taking notes already, you're going to want to take notes. Okay? Again, if you're enjoying this, be sure to share it. And like with everything else, thank you so much for watching. Let's continue with From Madness to Method. I taught this masterclass a couple years back, and I mean, it comes with everything with the workbook. We have 2 workbooks that it comes with, and I'm going to be bringing it out of the vault and placing it up for sale because a lot of people need this. A lot of people are going to need this bundle. And it's a video Zoom, 3 hours long. I mean, it's an in-depth training, but it's so good because one of the things that I'm seeing now that I'm coming back on social media a lot more active, I'm getting back to, traveling and doing speaking engagements. And I'm meeting a lot of leaders who are lacking clarity in their vision and their mission. They're showing up in a very confused state because no one knows what the heck you do. Right. So they don't know how they can attach to you. And then more than that, you're not showing up as an expert. Okay. And I know people say, oh, there's no such thing as an expert, but come on now. You wouldn't go to a doctor who says, well, I think I know how to do this. I don't think you would go to a dentist who says, I think I know how to fix your teeth. I'm not sure you would go to a church where the pastor says, I think I know how to teach the word. You want to be with people who are sure. So this is not meaning that you know everything. An expert is not someone who knows everything, but they know enough to where they can teach the fundamentals as well as individual knowledge that fits people's needs. Okay. An expert is someone who has experience in that field. And experience does not mean that I've just experienced it, but experience means that I have the wisdom and the discernment to teach you what and what not to do and how to get to an intended destination. That is an expert. Okay. And so of course they usually have years under their belt. All of them do. I mean, I've never met someone who was an expert who did not. And again, they've experienced failures as well as wins enough to know what failures will keep you from winning and what lessons they've learned from their failures to establish a winning playbook. So there are such things as experts. Okay. And I want to be around experts. I want to be around people who, again, they don't know everything, but they are continuous learners themselves and they know their stuff. Okay. You want to meet people who know their stuff. Now, I want to talk about though, how to show up in that manner, because that is what I'm seeing being a big lack or a big gap. Okay. And so let's talk about, again, From Madness to Method. We're going to scratch the surface. I want to frame for you kind of the stage. I want to frame the stage for you on how I see this From Madness to Method, and again, how I've taught it over the years. You have an area of genius or expertise. You may have multiple ones, but there is some area, and this does not apply to everybody because not everyone has, let's just be real. I probably should say a disclaimer first. Not everybody is an expert. Not everyone has an area of genius. Okay? Gotta be very clear. I may offend some, but it is what it is. Because in order to have an area of genius, you have had to apply yourself in a focused way in some area in which, again, you have established wisdom and discernment, okay? And there are many people who have not established those things. They simply have been in an area of expertise or something like that, but they have not established actual expertise. You can work in a field for 30 years and still have no wisdom. You may have some knowledge, but not wisdom. Right. And that's the reason why for some people, they talk about how many years they've been in something, but when you look at their fruit, it's two different things. Right. So on top of that, you have to have methods. And this is where we're going to get into From Madness to Method. Okay. The way that I establish an expert as well is someone who has created methods. Okay. This is where your intellectual property kicks in. Okay, this is how you get into that next level of being, whether it's consulting, whether it's coaching. There's levels to this, but that next level is understanding how to create methods. Okay, methods and systems. These two things are big. Methods and systems. Okay, because you can tell me that, let's just say you've been in the hair business for 20 years, right? And you say, because I have people I've worked with for years, all different areas. And I've worked with salon owners who have launched coaching programs, consulting companies where they are teaching other salon owners how to grow, how to grow the business, how to grow, whether it's being whatever area it may be of expertise within the hair business, right? But in order for someone to pay you for more than just being a salon owner and having experience, is where they're now paying for your methods and systems. See, that's where you get into intellectual property and someone paying you now for your curriculum, for the way in which you do things, right? Your way of them winning. Okay. This is how we get into the difference between someone writing a book about their life and someone writing a book about their life that produces methods and systems for how other people can win, right? This is why some people, when they write books, they're writing their memoir, right? And it's nice. We love it, right? We love it. Listen, I'm all, write your story. I get it. I love it, right? But if someone can't learn from your story how that's going to impact their life, your book is limited in its impact. And yes, I just said it. I said what I said. I said what I said, okay? I said what I said, okay? Because are you writing for people just to know you, or are you writing for people to learn from you? Two different levels. To know you, to learn from you. To know you, to learn from you. I can know you, but if I learn from you, now you got me at a different level, right? So this is how you go from madness to method. Madness, and we're going to go from madness to method tonight in this quick masterclass, okay? Madness is where, I don't have really any organization in how I show up. I'm not providing clarity in how I show up. So that means that when you show, whether it's online, in person, when you tell people who you are and what you do, it needs to be short and sweet, right? Many of us know elevator pitches. Many of us know that. Okay, great. But once you do that, then what are the ways in which you will take people from their own madness to your method? What are your methods? Do you have any methods? Right? And when I say methods, I mean, what is your secret sauce to teach people how to get to that destination? Right? Because it should be more than just encouragement, right? Now, and here's my thing. If you're in ministry, it's a little bit different. Because ministry, we know, whether you're a preacher, a teacher, a pastor, a lot of times, that's structured in a way where, they're teaching in sermon format, ministry format. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, for those of you, I'm talking about outside the four walls, but even in the four walls as a teacher, this is how you create biblical curriculum, biblical materials, where you have, again, strategies and ways for people to follow, but it has to be orderly. Like if I asked you, okay, let's say again, let's go back to the salon owner. Okay, what is your method to take someone from, barely breaking even in their hair business to at least hitting a certain amount of revenue? What is your method? What are the steps? Right? Well, if that person has never documented and sat down to record those steps to figure out how they're going to teach others, why should someone pay you over a certain amount when you don't even know the steps for yourself, right? Or when someone asks you that question, you're just talking for like a whole bunch of time, but they were never able to organize what you said. Right? This is why when I teach, I like to go through having, notes or points, because it should be easily organized where people can follow. You got it? So people are not going to pay you more in your chaos. So when you show up, you need to show up with clarity, right? And remember, what does clarity produce? Confidence. Okay? Because you know that when someone asks you a question, when someone is paying you to deliver results, you have a way in which that you follow to help them produce those results. It's just like a recipe. If I want to bake a cake, right? If I'm just baking a cake for myself, right, for me and my family, many times you don't need to use ingredients. I'm sorry, not ingredients. You don't need to use measuring cups, right? Some of us are like our grandmothers in the kitchen, man. You're cooking, you just can just sense, if that's enough flour. You kind of just sense if that's enough eggs. You taste a little, okay, I need to add a little bit more of this, I'll add a little bit more of that, right? Okay, cool. That's when you're cooking for your family. But if I asked you to make that same cake for 1,000 people, I want you to just get this analogy. For 1,000 people, Could you just, just kind of say, okay, that's enough egg. I think that's enough flour. Okay, I think that's enough sugar. I want you to think about that. It's one thing to bake a cake for, 10 people, 5, 10 people, whatever. It's easy to make food for your family, right? Because you can kind of sense what you need. But if I asked you to cater for 1,000 people that same dinner, you would need some recipes. You would also need some systems and methods to get that done. Because to cook for 5 to 10 people is different than to cook for 1,000. Well, then I want you to relate that to your business, right? You can't just wing it. You can't just wing it. Right? You have to sit down and organize your thoughts. If you want to teach people, you have to learn how to organize your thoughts, right? If I'm going to show up as an expert in branding, what is your methods on branding? And what are the systems that you create to teach people about branding? If you're an expert in, teaching people how to launch their own law firms, well, then what are your methods, right, for doing that? And then what are the systems or strategies that you have created for people to get there? If you're an expert, you say that I'm an expert in teaching people how to master their first year of motherhood. Okay, well, how exactly do you do that? And how does someone master motherhood? Which there's different ways to do that, I'm sure. I'm not a mother, but that's how you do. Okay, how do they do that? Is it a 6-month breakout? Is it a 12-month breakout? Are they able to accomplish certain things within 4 weeks? How does it actually get done? Right? This is how we tap into your actual expertise. You have to be able to document it. You got to be able to organize it so that people can easily digest it. Does everybody who's watching if you understand that, put understand in the comments. If you are understanding what I'm saying and you're also saying, okay, I know what I got to do over the next couple months. Okay, I'm going to need to sit down. I'm going to need to organize my thoughts. Okay, and I got to figure out what are my methods for helping people get from point A to point Z. I got to have some ways to get this thing. I can't just tell people that's what I do. I got to have actual paths. I got to have actual steps for them to get there. I got to actually understand this for my own self so that I can help people to understand, right? This part is important. This is actually how you show up as an expert, okay? This is really how you show up as an expert, okay? Because you got your own methods. This is also what sets you apart. We talked about earlier, how does it set you apart? Let's talk about how does it set you apart. It sets you apart because now these are your methods. This isn't someone else's methods. These are your methods. This is now how we get into proprietary information and knowledge. This is how we get into, again, I think about in the world of education, there are different types of curriculums that schools use, right? And that curriculum is developed by experts in education. There's different types of curriculum, right? But that curriculum is intended to help children to understand something in a particular subject matter or in different subject matters to accomplish certain levels of success, right? But those curriculums are not just something just spoken, they're written. There's organization in them, right? Well, that's the way that you grew up in school. In order for you to understand a knowledge or a subject, there was a textbook written. There was steps and lesson plans developed, right? It doesn't just happen, right? Things have to be organized so that the brain can easily receive them, okay? So this is how you set yourself apart. When we look at any area of expertise, there are pioneers in these different fields who set forth a method or a strategy in order for you to learn a concept, right? And I want you to think about yourself, not just as an expert, but someone who owns methods, someone who has written, your books. This is so important. I even think about how I write way differently than I did when I first started, especially when I really got the understanding of mastering my voice, right? My voice is not just meant to yap. I'm going to say this one because some of y'all, okay, you love to build up people, and I love it. I love that you love to build up. I love that you love to encourage people. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it, right? But what is all this talking for if people can't follow it? And when I say follow it, I don't mean hear it. I mean putting into action. So here's what I want you to think about. Any book you produce, right? Ask God on how and what it is meant to do for people. right? So when I look at my books, right, I've written all of my books. I never did a personal memoir, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because I think you should. If God's called you to write your story, you should. But in your story, you have to lead people to a destination, right? And so I've included parts of my story in my book, Led to Lead, which is a book focused on helping women live and lead a life with joy. Right. And I present certain steps and certain actions in order for them to get there. Right. When I wrote Faith in Glass Slippers, it is a story that tells women on how to take the story of Cinderella and apply it to your life as a grown woman on how to walk by faith. It includes lessons and steps. Right. When I wrote The S Word, which is written on sales, it includes lessons and steps. And I wrote Boss Builder, which is, let me show you guys my first strategy based book. I'm going to show you, it's over here actually. This was my first book I ever wrote. This came after Faith in Glass Slippers. This was the first book. Some of you guys have this. You may have it in digital form. This is the first book I ever wrote. Man, when was this written? Back in, let's see, copyright page, 2017. Wow, okay, it's 5 years ago. Okay. This was the first book I ever wrote that established my expertise and authority to build community, right? Because you got to use your voice to build community. Now, this is very important. When you write your books, there should be a book that you can sell, that you can promote, that is attached to your expertise. Now, not everyone needs to write a book, because if God didn't tell you to write a book, you better not write a book. But if you know that you are supposed to write books, you better have a book attached to your expertise, okay? Because it should have a basis that is connected to your mission and vision. So if I'm out here writing a whole bunch of books and it has nothing to do with my expertise, nothing to do with what I'm passionate about, and especially if God didn't tell you to do it, now if God told you to do it, that's completely different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about where you love to write books and God didn't tell you to write any of those books, right? And you know you need to write a book based upon your expertise. So this is my very first one that I did. And it's built on how to build your community. Whether you're a church, whether you're an MLM, all that. Now, it was written back in 2017. So some of the resources, of course, are outdated, but a lot of these things actually are not outdated whatsoever. And I wrote this to teach people different strategies. Like there's a whole section for churches. Some of this stuff, again, is outdated. But on churches, and then all the part is on businesses. And after every writing, there's a section called application, in which it asks questions based upon what they read so that they can put that into action. Now, this is more of a workbook. You don't have to write it like this. But my point is that when I wrote this, I said, number one, this needs to help them to achieve a goal, which is the beginner person who's just getting started, trying to figure out, how do I build a community, right? This is not for experts. This is for beginners on trying to figure out how to build out a community. What does community mean? How do I build it? How do I stay consistent in it? And then, of course, it has application. So I had to realize, okay, what's going to actually help people? How are they going to be able to get to their destination? And me presenting that information as an expert. And if you want to get any of my books, you can go to my website, genesisdorsey.com, and click on books, and it'll have everything there. But again, when it comes to presenting yourself, right, this matches what I do. Led to Lead teaches women upon how to present themselves, when it comes to their business, how to grow in confidence, how to believe in God to provide for that vision that God gave you. How to keep yourself in joy while you're walking forth as a leader. That book was written for women who were, knew that God had called them into leadership and really, taking possession of their authority. But, they're just getting their feet wet. I remember when I just started out as a leader back in 2012, I had no idea of anything when it came to, God providing for that business, God, leading me in that business, man. I had no idea. I was a stray sheep, So I wrote for the female leader who was being burnt out, just not depending upon God in areas in which they needed to, but they knew that God called them to lead and impact people. Okay, so I talk a lot about in that book, and so that's what Led to Lead was for, right? My point is that no matter whether you're doing a book, a course, no matter whether someone's paying you for consulting, they're paying you for your genius. Your genius must be packaged, okay? Does everyone understand? If you understand what I'm saying, please put understand in the comments, because I got to make sure as I break this down, you are picking up what I'm putting down. And if you are confused, please ask questions. Okay, I will definitely answer your questions. So again, we have to package. I want you to look at your vision. Let's do a map real quick as we end. Okay, we're at 48 minutes. So I got 12 minutes left. I want to do this activity with you really quickly. Okay, I want to do this activity with you because again, we're just scratching the surface tonight. And if you are enjoying this, let me know if you want, another part to this. You guys know I go as you go. Okay, but if you want another part of this, you let me know. So just come on, let's just go to the next level. I listen. I'm all for it. I want to show you something real quick. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna do this a little bit differently. Hold on, I'm gonna redraw it. I want to show you something. Show you a very easy way to understand how to break out, your business, your platform, no matter what it is that you do. Okay, I'm gonna show it to you like this. Okay, here it is for Facebook. Here it is for Instagram. Now, I know Instagram, I think it's backwards. But the top box says vision, and then it goes down to mission. And then it breaks out into 3 sections. Now, this does not mean that you only need to have 3 things, okay? But I just want you to understand the concept, okay? At the top is your vision. Remember, your vision is the overall impact and the destination, okay? Okay, it's the overall thing of what you came to do, okay? Jesus came that we may have life and that we would have life more abundantly, okay? Now, how that got done included a couple of components, okay? The major one was that he had to come and die and get back up, not just die, okay? Because he had to defeat death. Okay, that was one of the things. But that wasn't just it. Because if he just came just for someone to take his life and for him to get up, that would leave a lot of things that we also needed, right? Like another thing that we needed was to understand the revelation of the kingdom. So he had to teach. He couldn't just die, right? He also had to teach us so that we had awareness of how the kingdom truly operated. We had to understand how relationship worked between the Father and Jesus and us and the Holy Spirit. We also needed the Holy Spirit. We had to know what the heck is the Holy Spirit even for, right? There's a lot of things that had happened. He also had to set up the organization of the first church, right? To create disciples so that even after he left us, there was a continuation of the body of Christ. He didn't just come to die and get back up, right? So there of course was a vision, but then we also read Jesus's mission. We read in Luke 4:18, where he talked about all the things that he came to do while he was here on earth. Right? And he did those things. So it's very important that you not just understand the bigger picture, but you got to understand how we're going to get that picture accomplished. So here's how, this is a quick activity you can do at home or in your office. For those of you who are lacking clarity. Now, if you already have clarity in your business and your ministry, you're good to go. You don't even need this. But you may be able to help somebody else out who needs it. Because if you have clarity, it is your job to give others clarity. Okay, don't be stingy now. So I need to know what my vision is. If I don't know my vision, you better pray. You do not write it yourself. But once you know your vision, then my mission is how are we going to get it done? These lower circles here are going to be your actual products and services at the bottom. Okay, that's actually how you're going to get it done. So for me, I'll give you a perfect example. For me, the first one is teaching. Okay, I do online teaching. I travel. I'm booked to speak. So I go travel and I do teaching in person, right? So I do in person, I do it online. And I've been teaching for years, not like as long as some of you guys, but I've been teaching for at least now 10 years now, right? A decade. Thank God. Okay. God is good, right? So that is one part is teaching. The other one is coaching. I put coaching class consulting because to me, they're not the same thing at all, but they're within the same field as far as, setting aside personal time to work with people one-on-one. Okay. So coaching consulting. The other one is books and resources. Okay. And coaching can have subgroups. Like if you do group coaching, if you do membership, whatever it may be, they can have breakouts, but we're going to keep it basic. So teaching, coaching and consulting, and books and resources. These are the three ways in which I am delivering my impact, my influence, and fulfilling the vision through my mission. Okay. Now, again, a lot of people talk about a mission statement, and your mission statement is basically a summary of, again, how you will do what the vision has set out to be done, right? So basically, when you have a mission, it is, okay, how are we going to get the vision fulfilled? That's really what I'm trying to say. I think I just completely butchered explaining that, but I'm going to say it again. Okay. The mission is how you're going to get the vision accomplished, right? So your mission statement can include that, at .com or at this company LLC or at this ministry, this is how we seek to fulfill the vision through doing these following things, right? And you can Google a mission statement if you need to have one. I believe everyone should have one. And then you have your arms, which are the specific, again, products or services that you provide, right? In order for people to experience you. So this needs to be clear. These bottom sections need to be very, very clear. Okay. And we don't fill these sections at the bottom of like 500 things, because remember, it has to fit the mission, which ultimately fulfills the vision. Does everyone understand that? Okay. Now, does everyone have a simple map or something like this, or even within your business plan that breaks this out clearly so that you can set forth your boundaries in what you do? If not, say no. If you do, say yes. Okay, you can put that in the comments. Or if you're watching the replay, you could just say yes to yourself or no to yourself, okay? If you do not, this is your homework. Okay, this is something that you really need to do, because if you don't do this, it's going to be very hard for you to have clear boundaries in how you deliver your expertise, okay? Because you are an expert. If this teaching that I've been teaching applies to you, and this is matching what we're discussing for your life, then yeah, you are an expert. If you are someone that God is giving you something to deliver to people for them to learn how to do X, Y, and Z, and you have that expertise, then you are an expert. But you have to package yourself. But here's the thing: stop being a perfectionist, because it's going to be hard for people to truly get, that understanding from you if you're always stuck and I'm not gonna release it yet because of this, and I did do a little event here, but then but now I'm working on this and that. Man, if you don't just put this stuff out there, okay, please, because here's the thing: people, if you look at the greats in different areas of the market, their first product or service was never the best one. If you look at the first iPhone, you compare it to the one that we have today, I want to ask you, is it the same quality level services, apps as we had back when the first iPhone dropped? You let me know. The answer is no. If you're guessing, the answer is no. The answer is no. I have a question. When we look at, your knowledge and experience in life, are you the same person that you were at 3 years old? And if you say yes, please log off. You are not the same person, right? You're not the same person. So obviously you can transform. Obviously there is some hope for you that no matter what you put out at first, that it has the ability to become better. Okay. And here's the other thing. It's hard to become consistent. It's hard to become consistent when you're not practicing the art, okay, of releasing. Okay, what I mean by that? The art of release is learning how to produce a product, promote it effectively, and to evolve it over time. How are you going to make great products if you don't put them out? How are you going to help your community transform if you are not perfect? See, if you want to become a perfectionist, release it and then perfect it as it goes. But don't try to make your best product the first product you ever put out. And then, okay, fine, you put it out. Now what happens? Right? Okay, so your homework is to do this map. This is your map. You can put your vision at the top. You're going to put your mission. Your vision, again, is the end goal. Where are you going to take people? Your mission is, what exactly do you do in your business, ministry, whatever the combo is, that will help them to get to that destination? And then I want you to give me your arms. Your arms are your actual products and services that you provide. If you're in ministry, then it will be the experiences that you provide. Okay, but also I have ministry leaders who are under me, and as far as my coaching programs and a part of our community, and they also have coaching programs, they have mentorship programs, right? So you can put that as one of the arms, okay? And then as some extra credit, okay, if you want to do some extra credit, I want you to clearly list your products and services under each one. Okay, I want you to list them. The reason why is some of you have too many things that you're offering. And that also presents confusion because you want to make sure that each one of your products and services, they can connect and overlap, but they should not be clones of one another. Okay. And you want to also make sure that you're not offering products and services that are not needed for your platform, right? Some things you had no business creating or selling, and you know you shouldn't have done it, but you did it anyway. So take it out. I don't care how long it took you to build it. If God didn't tell you to do it, take it off. Because we're not committed to your sweat and tears. I know. Some of y'all know exactly how I am, right? I don't care how many years you put into something. If God didn't tell you to do it, you had no business doing it in the first place. So remove it. If it was a service, because, so-and-so asked me, to make this, so I made it. And now I added to my business model. But did God tell you to add it? If he didn't tell you to add, and I'm not saying that, God is going to speak on every little detail, but there are some things that, you just don't feel peace about in your spirit offering. And it could be something simple as the fact that you begin to offer a product or service that exhausts you to no end, and that you're not charging the right price for it. You need to take it off of your website, of your platform, until you have the correct structure for it, right? Because that is how you operate in keeping your own peace and allowing God's favor to work in your life because you're not stressed out, okay? Guys, thank you so much for watching. We have reached our hour mark. I hope that you were able to get what you needed out of this master class. This was, listen, go back, take some notes, okay? Get a binder. Get a binder, get something that you can begin to document your notes. I want you to learn how to package your expertise effectively. Before I log off, I do have a few things I just want to share with you. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you would like to join the email list, you can go to genesisdorsey.com and click on join. Okay. And that will allow you to join the email list. But outside of that, there are some great things that are happening. As some of you guys know, I'm a part of the family business, which our family, we own a private school for African-American and African diaspora-based families. So I've been very busy because we're in summer camp, and then we start school in September, the week of Labor Day. So I've been very busy with the school. But I'm making sure that I'm showing up online and, in person. I will be speaking in Boston the end of August to the event is sold out, so I have stopped promoting it, but I will be discussing more and more about it. I'm really excited. I'll be speaking to female Christian entrepreneurs about how to not idolize their gift. And God has given me an amazing word for that packed room. And man, I'm excited to bring God's word, the word that he's given me. And I will be sharing my methods. The strategies of faith that God has given me to help those women. But again, we have an accountability call coming up. It's completely free. I just want to share some information about it really quickly, if you have any time. But it is going to be on July the 31st. It's going to be this upcoming Sunday. This Sunday at 8 p.m. Okay, this Sunday at 8 p.m. It is free. We do it every month. This is going to be our third one, I think. I think it's going to be our third one. It's on Zoom, completely free. And you can register for the call. It is 1 hour. It's 1 hour only. We get on Zoom and we just check in on how has your last 30 to 31 days been. Okay, we do it at the end of every month, again at 8 p.m. And so if you want to sign up, you can go to genesisdorsey.com, myname.com, and then right on the homepage, if you go right on the homepage and you scroll down to the bottom, there is a link that says monthly community call. You can register right for free via Zoom, and it will give you the Zoom link. Okay, again, it's going to be this upcoming Sunday at 8 p.m. Last but not least, we are doing the Speak Woman Speak cohort. It is back. You guys have been waiting and waiting and waiting. And I have been delaying, and then God just slapped me. God just went like this, and God just said, if you don't get yourself together. And so We are bringing back the cohort, Speak Woman Speak cohort. It's going to kick off in September. It is a 6-week cohort, and it is for women evolving their giftings in speaking, writing, and teaching. And we've had students from all different backgrounds, from business to ministry to stay-at-home moms, who knew that God had given them a voice that needed to be developed and evolved. And this is not a cohort to teach you how to monetize your gift. Even though we will touch on components, my main focus within this cohort is to spend 6 weeks with you to have you truly understand the value of your voice, on how to cultivate your authority within your voice, because whether or not you monetize it, you will not be able to correctly monetize it if you don't have clarity and you don't have the understanding of how to show with authority and how to speak with that authority. We also are going to touch on how to organize your teaching, on how to teach in a manner in which people can grasp onto it, and when in a way in which people can be interested in what you're saying, okay? And so that you can also build a community through your voice. This is something that I have done for years. And so I will be teaching my strategies and methods within that. And then our last week is called Speakers Week. This is a new edition based upon our last cohort, where you will be asked to give a teaching, and your teaching will be edited, and I'll be working on it with you. And you'll receive feedback from those within the cohort to evolve your teaching abilities. And this is very important, because I've been a part of a lot of different speakers, communities and cohorts, but they never really work on like you actually practicing it, right? It's important that you practice your speaking and your writing abilities in order to be an effective teacher. And so we're going to be having a special week dedicated to you evolving and working on that gift of speaking and teaching merged as one, and how to deliver your points effectively. And so I'm really excited. Again, this is a 6-week cohort. If you're interested in learning more, there are payment plans available for it. You can go to genesisdorsey.com, and when you go to genesisdorsey.com, there is a big banner, a big button that says Learn About Speak Woman Speak Fall 2022. And you click on that button, it's going to give you an in-depth breakdown of what you're going to learn, what each week will cover, the pricing for each week, the class size and format, FAQs. You'll be able to read some testimonials, but it is truly, truly amazing. So again, you can go to genesisdorsey.com to read more. Guys, see you later. Have a good night, and I will talk to you guys soon. Okay, guys? Be